Today I've got something completely different for you. Well, at least kind of different, I guess. As some of you may know, Ken Ham and the Answers in Genesis team recently started a bi-weekly news program on Facebook. And as I watch, I find myself shouting at the screen at the misinformation and misunderstandings, and I wondered if some of you might want to rant along with me. This is going to be a little more informal and unscripted, so I'd really appreciate your comments and feedback as to whether you like this format or should I just shut up and stick to the science analysis. Anyhow, let me know. And with that, here we go.
Welcome to Answers News. This is February 6th, 2017. And
I think you suck.
And
Jane, you ignorant slut.
You don't frighten us, English pig dogs.
all right. Yes.
Okay.
So we've actually got quite a bit to hit today, so we're going to jump right into it. But the first thing I wanted to do was discuss the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl was an intriguing Super Bowl this year. It was the largest comeback in NFL Super Bowl history, and we've had 51 Super Bowls, and they came from behind.
Poor choice of
from
wording.
28-3 to come back and win 34-28. Yeah, they said, the likelihood of the Patriots coming back and winning would be, like Trump winning the presidency or something like that. But actually...
If you're not familiar with Dr. Georgia Purdom, she's completely perfected what I call the argument from giggling or the argument from eye-rolling. Basically, she repeats something she doesn't agree with and then dismisses it with just a laugh or a look. And then she thinks she's fully addressed the original point and she's very proud of herself. But in the context of sparring with Ken, I can never tell whether Georgia's incredulous giggles are endearing or whether they'll give me that desperate urge to be lobotomized. Either way, the contempt with which she treats Ken in this situation is delicious.
the talk has actually been about what was going on at halftime with Lady Gaga.
Actually, I found out how to increase the number of comments and to get more interaction on my Facebook. I did a tweet about Lady Gaga and posted on my Facebook.
Ken did a tweet on Facebook. Grandpa Ken's technical expertise is about what we'd all expect, I think. Gives you full confidence in his science claims, right?
One line of a song she sang was about asking for the Lord to show her the way or something.
Lord, show me the way to cut through all his worn out leather.
And I said they need to check all the words of her song against God's word.
What does that even mean, Ken? Check all the words to her songs? Look, man, at the end of all your sermons and debates, you invite your audience to acknowledge that they're sinners and you want atheists to ask God into their hearts. At least that's what you say you want. That's the entire point of your ministry, so you say. And yet a woman is performing on the most seen television event of the year, doing exactly what you want, calling on the name of your Lord as commanded. Romans 10:13 says, everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. And you don't commend her, or even more humbly just question and hope that she's sincere in her lyric. No, you want the scarlet letter. You want to list her sins.
She sang that song, I Was Born That Way, and it was, anyway, she kept getting less and less clothes as the time went on. And
why do I get the feeling that you'd have been the one taking Jesus up on his rhetorical offer to throw that first stone at the adulterous woman? I'm without sin, Jesus. I got this.
Well, also, being it's February 6th this past
hey,
weekend.
You notice something? I'm watching. See, I've got it here on my iPad.
That's an old one.
You're watching an old one, FYI.
You're watching an old one, yeah.
Oh.
Because Bodie's not wearing the same clothes and he's not on the end.
It is. I'm watching the wrong one.
I was waiting to tell you that, but yeah.
Okay, let me go. Oh, here we are. This one. Is that the right one?
Well, at any rate.
Yes.
No wonder I wasn't getting any new comments.
That's right. This weekend, this past weekend, was the anniversary of the Bill Nye Ken Ham debate. The famous debate occurred 3 years ago. And on the Answers in Genesis website, we discussed this, and we also have a number of resources that are involved in it. But what was your take on the debate, the first debate going back years ago?
Things going across here.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, that's good.
Emojis.
Good.
A what?
Emojis.
Emoji.
Hello. As you can see, I'm an emoji.
Then a box with a question mark inside, another box with a question mark, 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 and yet another box with a question mark, then a box with a question mark. What does that mean?
It means you don't have emojis on your phone.
Bill Nye likes emojis.
This is what happens
actually.
when you work with elderly people.
Yeah. I should have worn my bow tie today,
She
too.
started. Just because I said something last time, now she's into it. Here we go. So, yeah, 3 years ago, I debated Bill Nye. And, one of the things that I really emphasised in that debate was the difference between historical science and observational science. I still think that's one of the key points of the debate.
And on CSI, there is no distinction made between historical science and observational science. These are constructs unique to Mr. Ham. We don't normally have these anywhere in the world except here.
I'm sorry, Ken, but all science, including science studying non-repeatable past events, is based on observation. In the world you live in, no crime would ever be solved. All a defense lawyer would have to ask is, were you there, to the jury? And everyone would be acquitted. We can observe evidence of past events, Ken. We don't need your grandparents' sex tape to know that they enjoyed a shag at least once. You're living proof. Evidence is evidence. Look at it, touch it, measure it. Go ahead and taste it if you want to. Science has never been contingent on time machines. You've made this up as an excuse, and I'm tired of it. There's no difference between historical science and observable science. Those are the same thing.
When he was on that ad during the Super Bowl, he was mixing chemicals together.
Right.
That's observational
That's
science.
observational science. I was
And
like,
he was
that's fine.
endorsing a particular product, cleaning solution. That's observational science.
Right.
But when he talks about,
10 dimensions, then all of a sudden he
or
jumped
evolving
outside
from
of it.
ape-like creatures,
Yeah.
or that somehow the universe came into being by natural processes.
10 dimensions? Like parallel dimensions?
Yes. Only cleaner.
I'm actually with Brody on this. I did not think the 10 dimensions thing was funny. It was very lazy Super Bowl ad hack writing, like something from the Big Bang Theory or something. Sorry, Bill.
He didn't.
But, I took Bill Nye through the Ark recently, and it was a two-hour session. And a lot of people said they really liked that because it was informal.
Right.
And I was able to challenge him in a way I couldn't do at the debate. And so we got that on DVD, a whole
Yeah.
That's
2-hour
right.
walkthrough.
And we call that the Nye-Hand, the second
Debate.
Yeah, Bill, I'm actually along with the group of people that think maybe you gave Ken Ham too big a stage, too big an audience by doing that first debate. But at least there was a requirement that it needed to be streamed and edited so that the dishonesty was, kept to a certain level. But you went and visited the Ark and let them record it. You just gave these people a whole new product to sell. And every clip I've seen from your tour so far has been obviously highly edited. Now, I'm not willing to give Ken any of my money for the actual full DVDs, but I'm pretty confident that any good points you made on that walk probably didn't make the final cut. AiG has once again co-opted your name for their own legitimacy and financial gain, and I hate that your name is being used to do it.
Yeah, well, we've got a set that you guys can get, and I believe this is pinned, there on the Facebook, where it has the second debate. It's got the original debate as well as the discussions and everything that occurred afterwards. And we also have a book. You and I went through the entire debate, and we got a chance to address each one of Bill Nye's claims.
Squirrel.
Hey, we got lots of little blue things going across here.
Emojis.
Yellow things. Emojis. Emoji things. Is that what they are? Emoji things?
As you can see, I'm an emoji.
All right. Well, the next news item comes from Fox News, and it says, chimp leader killed, eaten by his former subjects. And, I was kind of fascinated by this when I first saw it. Apparently, the ringleader of a group of chimpanzees, they say was murdered by its own community.
Murdered?
Murdered. Now, that's kind of
I
fascinating.
guess from an evolutionary perspective, they could use that because we're all related to chimps, right?
That's right. But see, they're redefining the word murder. Murder is, a human killing another human. And, they just want to redefine that, try to apply that to animals as well.
Well, isn't that what makes the event interesting to science and philosophers and the general public? The philosophical ramifications of animals plotting and performing the death of another animal of the same species, not for food or territorial disputes or mating competition, just killing them? Some chimps decided they didn't like another chimp and they killed him in cold blood. Philosophically, is that murder or not? How do you define murder in the first place? These are actual interesting questions.
But this was originally published in the International Journal of Primatology, and I guess this chimp was originally like the ringleader. They actually named him Saddam because they viewed him kind of as a tyrant, and he was kicked out, essentially, and he started to live at the edges of their community. He was basically thrown out of power. But what happened was he ended up being killed by a group of younger males. And they didn't just kill him. They started to brutalize the body for about 4 hours. They broke his bones, beat him, and then they started to eat him. Now, here's what's fascinating about this. a lot of people tell us we need to look to the animal world for our morality.
Right. Like for homosexual behavior,
Yes.
they said, oh, look, animals do it, so therefore it's okay for humans.
Yeah.
Well,
and
then-
so, but there's no way they would say, well, yeah, let's go out there and kill and eat people.
Who in the history of the world has ever said that humans need to look to the animal kingdom for morality? If anyone points to the animal kingdom in regard to homosexuality, it's to refute the assertion that homosexuality is unnatural. It is clearly natural, as homosexual behavior is observed in over 500 species, according to a 1999 study. A 2006 study actually puts the count over 1,500 species. Natural, as in found in nature. Natural is not the same as moral. Those are different questions we can have. We also find plenty of examples of altruism in social species. There's evidence that caring about someone beyond yourself can be an evolutionary advantage that can be naturally selected for. That's partially why social species do so well, even though they may not have all the physical advantages that other species have. But no one is suggesting that my cat does it is a good defense for stealing someone else's food. It's your Bible that says we should look to the animal kingdom, Ken. Look to the birds, look to the trees, look to the lilies of the field.
Humans may ultimately be responsible for this gruesome violence. Actually, for evolutionists, it's evolutionists responsible because nature red in tooth and in claw, struggle.
That's the way it's supposed to be,
millions of
according to
years,
them, yeah.
death and so on. Yeah, so they should look at this and say, hey, this is great. This is evolution in action.
First of all, yes, this is evolution in action. I assume this marks an anomaly in chimpanzee groups, otherwise it wouldn't be interesting, and as such, it is change. Evolution means change. Second of all, no, we don't have to think it's great. Evolution doesn't have to have an outside cheering section.
Why do they say murdered when it's evolution in action?
Exactly.
From their perspective.
You answered your own question, Ken. We would say murdered because it appears that the group of chimps is becoming more like humans. Specific behavior is not limited to a single species. We don't come up with a different word for sleeping for humans and another word of sleeping when it's applied to animals.
The Bible makes it clear man was made in the image of God, animals weren't. Man
That's
is
right.
different to the animals.
That's right.
He's not just an animal.
Are you attempting to say that one has to be made in the image of God in order to commit murder? That murder is somehow a part of God's character? I don't think that's what you really mean, but it sounds like it.
Squirrel.
By the way, as someone watching from the United Kingdom, people watching from Washington State, where they have snow.
Oh, wow.
We wouldn't know what that's like.
Okay. Next one. This comes from Fox News as well. Town takes a stand after mayor forced to remove Christian flag. So this
Where
is
was
a
that?
Mississippi town.
Mississippi.
Yeah, they were forced to remove a Christian flag following the threat of a lawsuit by an atheist. Well, that's interesting right there.
For context, the town was flying a Christian flag, I don't even know what that means, a flag with a cross on it or something, on government property. This was government property. I know you're from Australia, Ken, but in the United States, the courts have ruled on the separation of church and state with the Establishment Clause. The state cannot show preferential treatment to any one religion, even if that one religion is super popular. Private property, do what you want to do. Public property, there are rules.
So this is the Freedom from Religion Foundation,
Yes.
which goes out there and bullies people
Yeah, it does.
to get its way.
Bullies. This predominantly Christian town is illegally promoting its religion on the minority who do not share this belief, and it's the poor majority that is getting bullied? Aw.
So anti-Christian, and they actually look for anything that's Christian across the nation and then try to get it deleted from that part of the culture.
Yeah.
No, they do not look for anything Christian. The FFRF looks for any church and state violations, and usually those are reported from someone in the public. They're actually not out hunting. We're talking about America here, where Christianity is king. It's practically a theocracy at this point. So is anyone surprised that the officials that attempt to get away with church-state violations are statistically more likely to be Christians? Of course they're going to be Christians. No other religion has any significant power. Look up Romans 13, 1-2. It commands Christians to respect governing authorities as if God himself established them. Whoever wrote Romans is telling you to obey the law of the land, to live within it, as if God established it. If you obeyed this, none of these church-state conflicts would ever come up.
Yeah, and we see things like this all the time. Christians are coming under attack, or whether it's a flag, whether it's a cross. I mean, we've already reported on things like this already.
On public property, in government buildings, hang them at home. Hang them in your churches. Hang 1,000 of them. We don't care. Just not on public property.
You know, there was a city in New Jersey, in Paterson, where the mayor himself actually hoisted the flag, Palestinian flag, above the American flag. I mean,
Well, did the Freedom from Religion Foundation go
did they
after
step
them?
in on that? Not at all.
Do you think that Palestine is a religion? Although you guys think that a lot of things are religions that have nothing to do with religion. It's kind of your MO.
You know, so
But if it's Christian, they
it's
will.
Christian, you go after it.
Persecution is part of the DNA of Christianity. Jesus warned them that if they were not persecuted, Jesus warned them over and over that they'd be persecuted, going so far as to imply that you aren't even a true Christian if you're not being persecuted. So naturally, they look for it everywhere. They wear it as a badge of honor. It's super important to them. Persecution is part of their identity. But look, asking you to not hang a flag at City Hall is not persecution. Banning you from travel because of your religion? That's a little closer to persecution. Now, which religious group is trying to ban another religious group from travel? I forget.
Yeah, and we're seeing more and more Christians undergo persecution. That's what this next item is from Fox News. Christian persecution seen in more locations across the globe, new report shows. And let me just start off by reading some of this. In the past year, the persecution of Christians has not only increased, but it has also spread to more corners of the globe, with incidents occurring on every continent, according to a new report. They showed that nearly 90,000 Christians were killed for their faith in 2016, and that as many as 600 million were prevented from practicing their faith through intimidation, forced conversions, bodily harm, or even death.
And you know what? That's persecution. That is real. That's appalling and terrible. Do you understand why making a huge deal about nativity scenes and flags and Starbucks cups completely diminishes the meaning of the word persecution when it's real? Where's your fight for these brothers and sisters overseas?
Hey, where are all the protesters out there protesting this?
Yeah, where are they, Ken? Why did you just exalt an entire town who came out to protest a flag, and not a single Christian is rallying or lobbying for the murder of your fellow saints? Look in the mirror.
I mean, we need to be praying for our Christian brothers and sisters. And
no, you need to do something. I'm sorry, but praying isn't doing something. Even if you think it is, praying and doing something has to be the best option, right?
2 Timothy 3:12 says, yes, and all who deserve to live godly in Christ, or all who desire to live godly in Christ Jesus will suffer persecution. We expect persecution.
Yeah, what was I saying before?
We're also seeing the secularization of not just our culture, but around the world.
Yes.
You know, and think about it too. Darwinian evolution has been taught as fact in education systems of the world. I mean, this is a philosophy, a religion that's permeated the whole world.
Are you seriously trying to blame these killings on the teaching of evolution, Ken? This article specifically cites that Christians are targeted by nationalist religious movements, including Muslim, Hindu, Buddhism, and with most danger in the regions of the Middle East, like Iran, Pakistan, and Saudi Arabia.
Survival of the fittest.
Giving people a so-called scientific justification for saying we can determine what's right and wrong ourselves.
These are not hotbeds of evolution, Ken. They can and do kill atheists with the same vigor, if not more, as they do with Christians. They do not exactly have Charles Darwin, Origin of Species, on their nightstand. These are theists killing theists. Do you know where there are no deaths of Christians, according to this report? North America, Europe, and Australia. All the continents that teach evolution. Huh.
And, you know, we don't think about that as much here in the United States, but it's definitely, I mean, the more and more, like you say, we don't protest, we just allow these things to happen, that it's going to be true here in the United States as well.
Mm-hmm.
So don't protest these actions for the sake of the morality that you were talking about earlier for that murder you were very concerned about. But you might want to protest in order to prevent the same thing from happening in America. So if it's happening to you, you should protest. If it's happening to someone else, no protest. Very nice.
More details.
Secularism, naturalism is a religion.
It
It's
is a
being
religion.
imposed on generations of our kids.
Yeah.
And you know what? We're seeing the consequences in our culture right now.
It's not the secularists who are killing your brothers and sisters, Ken. It's the theists.
Yeah.
Yes, he sure
Squirrel.
did.
I just realized there's a lot more comments here than I thought there was, because apparently I have to scroll them up or something.
Oh, you have to scroll them up, take a
Yeah.
look at them. Yeah, yeah.
It's hard to see. You still got those little blue things going. What do you call them again?
Emojis.
Emojis. Okay, emojis.
As you can see, I'm an emoji.
All right, this next
Great.
news item comes from The Guardian. Leopard shark makes world's first switch from sexual to asexual reproduction. A leopard shark in an Australian aquarium has reproduced asexually after being separated from her mate. It is the first reported case of a shark switching from sexual to asexual, or parthenogenic. Am I saying that right?
It's parthenogenesis is actually what it is. So.
Georgia, you're a geneticist. I've actually had evolutionists claim that we believe in parthenogenesis in humans because of the virgin birth.
That's just ridiculous because they're discounting the role of the Holy Spirit in that, so that it's not.
Obviously, a ghost had sex with her. Dummies. Ridiculous.
This isn't some sort of evolutionary response. That's what they're kind of seeming to indicate here in the article. But it's not adapting. The organisms get worse, not better, and they can't reproduce. So how is that evolution?
That's right.
For a geneticist, you don't really seem to understand what evolution is. Evolution is change. Change over time. There is no concept of better or worse. There's no guidance, no ultimate goal, no ladder of achievement being climbed. Change is evolution, and the changes that win are the changes that help survive the environment. And in an environment with only females, asexual reproduction is obviously a huge advantage.
Squirrel!
Hey, I'm getting some questions here, but they go along, and then there's ... and I can't see the rest of the question.
Okay.
Is that technology? Isn't technology great?
Yeah, I don't know.
And when I click on the little dots at the end, nothing else happens. I'm going to have to ask our social media team, how do I see the whole question? I don't understand this.
All right. Keep your questions short, then he can read them, right?
This is I'm getting emotional, not emoji.
Oh.
I can't see.
I won't make any more comments.
That's
I can't see my comments. Oh, now they've stolen my iPad.
Well, our next news item actually comes from Cincinnati.com. The Creation Museum, the Ark Encounter, we're located right here in the Cincinnati area. And one of the things that popped up here locally, I'm sure people saw this at least all over the country as well. Amazon plans worldwide cargo hub, 2,700 jobs at CVG.
The atheists were all complaining about us and we shouldn't get any tax incentive. I didn't hear them complaining about Amazon getting tax incentives.
No, I haven't seen any of that. I haven't seen any protests on that.
Yes, once again, you don't understand the separation of church and state. You were being protested because the Ark Encounter was receiving public funds, while at the same time requiring all of your employees to sign a declaration of Christian faith, your faith statement that was on your website. If you're a religious organization, you're allowed to have some certain discriminatory hiring practices, but as a publicly funded tourist attraction, you waive the right to discriminate on the basis of religion. The protest was about funds and your hiring practice. If Amazon was going around publicly discriminating based on religion, like saying that they weren't going to hire any Christians at Amazon, you can bet someone would be protesting for that.
I wonder if it's because we're Christian. Do you think that's what it is? And we have a Christian
That's
message.
exactly the reason that happened. They essentially, one of the things that happened was they said, okay, we're fine with this tax incentive. We just want to give it to everybody except for you Christians. And, of course, that's discrimination. And we had to deal with that as well.
You actually pulled out the word discrimination against you. It's not because you're Christians. It's because you have discrimination in your hiring practices. And you know this. Do you want your tax dollars going to companies that publicly declare discrimination against Christians or different ethnic groups or anything like that? Would that be okay? Same thing.
Squirrel!
Where's Abu Dhabi?
Dubai, yeah, that's there in the Middle East.
Did I pronounce that wrong?
Dubai, no, that's the correct pronunciation. Wow, so we are getting people all over the world.
Yeah, people from all over the world.
Wonderful.
I can, you know what? Now they fixed it so I can see all the full questions that people are asking.
Imagine that just had
Now
to
he's
turn
excited.
the other way.
Does anyone trouble with it?
This last one is from New Scientist. A majority of primate species may vanish in the next 25 to 50 years. And, it's interesting the way that they say this, the non-human primates, they're trying to lump humans in with primates.
Whatever you believe about origins, whether you think we were created or evolved or some combination or mixture or something in between, taxonomically, humans are primates. That's just true. We have all the characteristics that in taxonomy define a primate. Why is that such a trigger word? What if the article said non-human mammals? Do you want to deny that humans are mammals?
So there's going to be another major extinction?
Another apparently major
According to
extinction.
evolutionists?
Because of humans again.
Because of humans again.
because
Humans are always, humans are the problem, Well, that's true.
I know. That's
Without
what a lot of
having
people
sense,
think.
humans are the problem.
Yeah, we're the problem.
Yep. So,
So this world would be a better place without people.
Well, that's what they believe.
That's what they
actually.
believe.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they'd rather save the animals, get rid of the people.
It's not that I'd rather save animals, but yeah, by any possible measure you can make, humans are bad for the planet. Agent Smith totally had it right.
Every mammal on this planet instinctively develops a natural equilibrium with the surrounding environment, but you humans do not. You move to an area and you multiply, and multiply until every natural resource is consumed.
Someone said they've been laughing a lot. That's good.
This is Answers News, February 6, 2017, signing off.
And that's it for our first Ham and Eggs news. What'd you think? Should I keep doing this? Or what'd you think about any of these news stories they brought up? Anyway, I really love your opinions on the show and the format and anything else you'd like to tell me, so leave me a comment. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give me a thumbs down. If you haven't already, please click subscribe to see any new videos that I put out. And until next time, later.